Have you ever felt like you were chosen for something bigger, but you don't know exactly what? What if I told you that from your first breath, your life already had a defined purpose? Nothing you experienced was in vain. Every moment was a preparation for something much bigger. If you feel this call within you, comment now, "I accept." And before continuing, subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because this message needs to reach more people. Now, open your mind, because what you are about to hear could completely transform the way you see your existence. From the moment you took your first breath, your existence was marked by something great. While for many birth is just the biological beginning of life, for the chosen ones, it is the awakening of a mission that was already written before they even arrived in this world. Every beat of your heart is like an echo of a higher calling, an invisible force that whispers to your spirit that there is something much greater in store for you. The first breath is not just entry into the physical world, but confirmation that your journey has begun. Throughout life, many ignore this first sign. They are carried away by routine, by the expectations of the world, by the distractions of society. But for the chosen ones, the feeling that there is something beyond never disappears. Have you ever felt like your life had a deeper meaning, even though you couldn't explain why? This restlessness, this desire to understand more about yourself and the world, is the first clue that you are part of a higher plane. The path of the chosen is never easy. From birth, challenges arise as if life is testing your resistance. But every obstacle is a reminder that you were prepared for something beyond the ordinary. Your first breath was the sign that your journey would be unique, and now it's time to begin to understand it. Before you were born, your soul was already being prepared for the mission it was going to fulfill. While many believe that life begins only at the moment of birth, the chosen ones know that their essence was shaped long before that. Your energy, your spirit, your abilities were already being drawn into the universe, so that, at the right time, you would awaken and assume your true role. Nothing was by chance, not the place where you were born, not the people around you, not the difficulties you faced. Everything is part of a higher plan. From your mother's womb, you were accompanied by spiritual forces. Maybe you don't remember consciously, but your soul knows. You may have felt invisible protection throughout your life, as if there was something guiding your steps, preventing deeper falls, and bringing opportunities at the right time. This is no coincidence. Your trajectory was written with a specific purpose, and your existence was already predestined long before you opened your eyes to this world. But why do only a few feel this calling most strongly? Because they are those who were separated for something greater. While many live without question, the chosen have always felt they belong to something beyond what meets the eye. Your calling existed even before you were born, and now you are beginning to remember it. The childhood of the chosen ones is rarely ordinary. While other children live without worries, those chosen from an early age demonstrate a different perception of reality. Did you ever feel different from others when you were a child? Have you ever had moments of profound silence where you seem to be taking in more of the world than those around you? This happens because, without even realizing it, your spiritual awakening had already begun. Many chosen children have experiences they cannot explain. Perhaps you have felt invisible presences, sensed energies around you, or even had dreams that seemed more real than life itself. These are signs that your connection with the invisible was already active. But most of the time, these experiences are ignored or repressed because society does not teach the importance of true spirituality. At some point, you may have tried to fit in, adapt, hide your sensitivity, but the truth is, your spirit always knew there was something different inside you. The first years of life are fundamental for the formation of those chosen. It is during this period that the signs begin to appear and the first trials arise. Moments of isolation, emotional difficulties, an inexplicable feeling of loneliness. All of this is part of the preparation. If you went through this, Know that it was training so that at the right time you could fully awaken to your mission. Since childhood, the chosen ones carry a peculiar feeling, that of not completely belonging to this world. It's as if something inside them is always out of place, as if they look around and realize that the worries and routines of ordinary people simply don't make sense to them. This feeling of being different is the first big sign that there is something special in store for you. Maybe throughout your life you've tried to fit in, but there was always something that didn't allow it. It was as if there was an invisible block preventing you from following the common flow of society. This happens because the chosen ones were not made to follow the crowd. Your path is unique, your vision is different, and your mission requires you to see beyond the obvious. This difference, however, can be a burden. Many chosen ones face periods of doubt, insecurity, and even rejection, but over time they realize that this feeling of not belonging is not a problem, but a privilege. You're not called to be like others. You have been called to something much greater. At some point in life, everyone chosen goes through a period of isolation. It can be something physical, like moving away from certain people and places, or it can be internal isolation, where the feeling of loneliness seems impossible to overcome. This moment, although difficult, is crucial for spiritual awakening. During isolation, the chosen begin to question themselves more deeply. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my true purpose? These questions arise with force and the answers seem difficult to find. But it is during this period that the universe begins to reveal clues. Maybe you found books, videos, people, or experiences that began to open your mind to a new reality. This was not by chance. The search for answers is what differentiates the chosen ones from the rest. While many accept life as it is, the chosen feel an insatiable desire to understand the truth. And as this search progresses, they realize that the answers have always been within them. Isolation is not a punishment, but an invitation to transformation. No chosen one goes through life without trials. From the earliest years, the journey is marked by challenges, losses, moments of confusion, and even intense pain. But these difficulties are not punishments, but rather a kind of spiritual refinement. Every trial you have faced has shaped your essence, making you stronger, wiser, and more aware of your true nature. Suffering, when seen from a spiritual perspective, is like divine training. It serves to prepare your soul for something far greater than human understanding can achieve. Many chosen ones feel that their difficulties are more intense than those of other people. While others seem to navigate through life without much questioning, those chosen face deep existential crises, internal dilemmas and conflicts that seem to have no solution. This happens because you were not made for an ordinary existence. The universe needs you to be polished, for each wound to turn into wisdom, for each obstacle to strengthen your resilience. This is how the chosen ones are prepared for their mission. Trials, no matter how painful they are, always bring learning. And when you look back, you realize that the most difficult moments were the ones that transformed you the most. The pain that once hurt you has become the same pain that woke you up. Challenges that seemed unbearable gave you clarity about your path. You may not understand now, but every tear, every loss, and every difficulty was an essential part of your preparation. You are not being punished. You are being trained for something great. The adolescence of the chosen ones is not like that of others. While most young people are concerned with friendships, fun, and social acceptance, the chosen ones experience an intense internal battle. This is the period where the feeling of being different becomes even more evident. You may remember times when you looked around and realized that you didn't fit in, that your mind was filled with questions that no one else seemed to have. This internal struggle is not just a phase, but a sign that your spirit was already awakening to something greater. Many chosen ones feel strong isolation in adolescence. It is a period of transition where spiritual energies begin to manifest themselves with more intensity. Vivid dreams, inexplicable intuitions, a deep search for meaning. All of these are common among those who have been called to a higher purpose. But along with this awakening also come conflicts. The attempt to fit into society, the doubt about your own worth, the fear of being alone. Many end up trying to ignore this difference, trying to conform to the standards around them, but something inside them always resists. This period can be confusing and even painful, but it is essential for spiritual maturation. The chosen ones need this phase of questioning to begin to find their own answers. The more intense this internal struggle, the stronger the awakening will be. Adolescence is not just a time of biological transition, but a true portal to spiritual identity. You may have felt like no one understood you, but the truth is, you were being prepared to understand yourself. Throughout life, the chosen ones realize that there are signs that accompany them. These spiritual marks can manifest themselves in different ways: repetitive dreams, inexplicable coincidences, an intuition that always seems to be right. They are small messages from the universe that indicate that you are following the right path, or that you need to adjust your trajectory. But the most curious thing is that these signs are not always evident. Often, we can only see them clearly when we look back. Maybe you've had moments when something seemed to be protecting you, an accident avoided by seconds, an unexpected piece of advice at the right time, an encounter that changed the course of your life. None of this is a coincidence. The chosen ones have always been guided, even if they don't realize it. The universe places subtle messages, tests, and revelations in your path that shape your understanding of your own journey. Some of these marks come through pain, others through moments of enlightenment, but they all have the same purpose: to lead you to your true destiny. It is important to learn to recognize these signs. The more attentive you are, the easier it will be to interpret the paths that the universe is showing you. If you feel that certain situations repeat themselves, that certain numbers appear frequently, or that certain people enter and leave your life at strategic moments, know that this is part of your awakening. Nothing happens by chance when it comes to the mission of a chosen one. The universe always finds a way to guide you, even when you think you are lost. Spiritual awakening does not happen all at once. It comes little by little, revealing itself in the details of everyday life, in moments of silence, in moments of reflection. But there is a point in adulthood where everything starts to make sense. Past experiences, pains, doubts. Suddenly they seem to fit together like a big puzzle. What once seemed random begins to form a pattern, and it is at this moment that the chosen one understands that their journey has never been ordinary. Maybe you've noticed that throughout your life, there's always been something pushing you towards a specific path. You may have tried to resist, ignore the signs, go through life like everyone else. But at some point, something inside you irreversibly awakened. It's when you realize that your existence has a much greater meaning than you imagined, that you were never alone, and that everything you went through was preparation for this moment. This awakening can be scary at first. The idea that your life has a divine purpose brings with it a weight of responsibility, but at the same time, there is immense relief. You understand that you no longer need to fight who you are. You accept your mission, and with that, you begin to walk with more confidence. Awakening in adulthood is the point where the chosen one stops questioning himself and begins to act. This is when he assumes his true identity. The chosen are constantly surrounded by signs. It could be a number that repeats itself, a phrase that appears several times in different places, an inexplicable feeling of déjà vu. The universe always communicates, but few people know how to listen. Have you ever had moments when you felt like something was guiding you? Have you ever found answers unexpectedly? These are signs that you're in tune with your true mission. Synchronicity is one of the most powerful forms of spiritual communication. When you start paying attention to details, you realize that nothing is by chance. A seemingly casual encounter can change your life. A phrase said at the right time can bring the clarity you needed. Coincidences don't exist when it comes to the chosen ones. Everything has a reason, and everything is connected in a precise way. The more you recognize these signs, the stronger your connection to the universe becomes. And the stronger this connection, the clearer your purpose becomes. The universe has always spoken to you, but now finally you are learning to listen. As the chosen one progresses on their journey, an inevitable conflict begins to emerge. The struggle between living an ordinary life and answering the higher calling. The world around you imposes expectations, pressures you to follow a conventional path, to fit into society's norms, but something inside you resists. You feel like you can't just go with the flow, that there is something beyond what meets the eye, something that demands your attention and demands that you fully awaken. This conflict can be exhausting, as the chosen one often finds himself trapped between two worlds, the world of material responsibilities and the world of spiritual mission. Many try to ignore this call. They try to convince themselves that they can be happy leading an ordinary life. But over time, the discomfort grows. Routine tasks seem empty, fleeting pleasures lose their shine, and the feeling of being out of place intensifies. The chosen one realizes that while others seem satisfied with their everyday lives, he cannot settle. Your spirit yearns for something greater, for a purpose that goes beyond superficial achievements, and this desire cannot be ignored. The more he tries to deny it, the stronger the call becomes, pushing him towards his true mission. The decision to answer the call is not easy. It requires courage to break patterns, to follow a path that few understand. This can mean losing people, abandoning old beliefs, and even challenging everything you have been taught. But deep down you know there is no other choice. The calling always wins. Your mission was written even before you were born, and now the time has come to accept it fully. The conflict between ordinary life and the higher calling is not a curse, but proof that you have been set apart for something great. There comes a time in the journey of the chosen one when resistance gives way to acceptance. It's the turning point, the moment he understands that fighting against his true nature only brings suffering. From that moment on, everything changes. Fear is replaced by confidence, doubt by certainty, and the feeling of isolation transforms into purpose. He finally understands that he no longer needs to fit in, because his mission was never to follow the crowd, but to enlighten them. Accepting the mission is a liberating process. The chosen one realizes that all experiences, good or bad, were necessary to shape him. He stops wondering why his life was different and begins to see the answers that were always there. Past suffering turns into learning, and overcome obstacles become spiritual trophies. He now sees clearly everything happened so that he could get exactly where he is now, ready to fulfill what was destined for him. But accepting the mission doesn't mean the path will be easy. In fact, it is precisely at this moment that the challenges intensify. The world does not easily accept those who awaken. There are forces that will try to pull you back into the illusion, distractions that will arise to divert your focus. But the difference is that now you know who you are. You know that each test is a step on the ladder of your spiritual growth. Accepting the mission does not mean that there will be no struggles, but rather that you are now prepared to face them with courage and wisdom. The decision to follow the path of spiritual awakening brings with it a series of external challenges. The world does not understand those who choose a greater purpose. You will realize that as you get closer to your true mission, opposing forces will try to block your progress. It could be people who disbelieve in your path, circumstances that seem to conspire against you, or even doubts that arise to test your determination. This is all part of the world's resistance against those who dare to step out of the illusion and see the truth. Those chosen face intense trials at this stage, Some of these trials come disguised as losses, others as financial difficulties, emotional conflicts, or even illnesses. These are final tests that serve to purify your soul, to strengthen your faith, and to prove that you are ready. The bigger the mission, the bigger the challenges. This is why many chosen ones feel that their lives are more difficult than others. But this difficulty is not a punishment, it is a refinement. Only those who go through the fire of transformation are ready to carry the light. The key to overcoming this resistance is understanding that every trial is an opportunity. Every obstacle is a portal to a higher level of consciousness. When you face challenges with this vision, you realize that there is no reason for fear or despair. The world may try to bring you down, but it can never put out the flame that burns inside you. Their mission is greater than any barrier they try to impose. The final trials are not the end of the path, but rather the beginning of a new phase, the phase in which you fully assume your destiny. The true purpose of the chosen ones is not just to find their mission, but to transform themselves through it. Awakening is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Every day you become stronger, more aware, more connected to your true self. Purpose is not something fixed. It evolves with you, and the more you give yourself to it, the more powerful it becomes. Transformation happens from the inside out. Old fears disappear, worldly concerns lose importance, and you begin to live with a new sense of clarity. You realize that you are not here to accumulate material possessions or seek external validation. Your true treasure is within you, in the wisdom you acquire, in the light you share with the world. This change doesn't happen overnight, but over time, you begin to notice that you are no longer the same person as before. You are spiritually reborn, more aligned with your true essence. And this transformation doesn't just impact you. When a chosen one awakens, their energy reverberates around them, touching those who cross their path. You become a beacon, a guide for those who are still trapped in the darkness. Your simple presence starts to have a profound impact as you carry within yourself the knowledge of a greater truth. Your mission is not just yours, but that of all those who will be influenced by your awakening. Getting this far does not mean that the path has come to an end. On the contrary, a chosen one's journey never ends. There will always be new challenges, new revelations, new learning, but now you know that you are not alone. From the beginning, there was a greater force guiding, protecting and preparing you for each step. You have never walked alone, and you never will. The feeling of loneliness that so many chosen ones feel throughout their lives is just an illusion. In fact, you have always been surrounded by spiritual guides, by signs, by a divine presence that has never abandoned you. The more you connect with your purpose, the clearer this presence becomes. You realize that everything you went through had a reason, that each pain was a lesson, that each fall was a step towards something greater. Now more than ever, you are ready to move forward with confidence. Your mission does not end here. It just turns into something even bigger. And remember, the universe will always be by your side, because you were chosen from your first breath.